There are women whose beauty feels temporary, caught in a trend, a moment, a passing glance. And then there are women like Monica Bellucci, whose presence seems carved from marble and painted with centuries of longing. She was never simply a model, nor just an actress. She became a symbol, an atmosphere, the living embodiment of Europe's timeless glamour. Audiences did not merely watch her, they felt her, as though she carried with her the essence of another world, one that Hollywood itself has often tried to imitate, but rarely managed to capture. From the beginning, Monica's story has been shaped by contradiction. In Europe, she was adored, crowned as a goddess of fashion and cinema. In America, she was seen, admired, and yet somehow overlooked. Hollywood embraced countless European stars before her: Sophia Loren, Brigitte Bardot, Catherine Deneuve, women who crossed the ocean and found a throne waiting. Monica, by contrast, was left on the margins, given fleeting roles and moments of brilliance, but never the full embrace. How could this have happened? Why would an industry so devoted to beauty hesitate before a woman whose elegance seemed to define it? Her story is a riddle wrapped in glamour. Every time she appeared on screen, she left an imprint far larger than her role. In Malèna, she was the tragic muse of a Sicilian town, admired to the point of isolation. In Irreversible, she became the face of courage, diving into a role so raw that it shook the world. In the Matrix films, she appeared only briefly, yet audiences remember her as though she were central. And in Spectre, she redefined what it meant to be a bondwoman at 50, proving allure does not belong only to the young. Yet despite these unforgettable moments, Hollywood treated her as a guest, never as a queen. It is this tension between adoration and rejection that makes Monica Bellucci's legacy so compelling. She is not remembered only for what she achieved, but also for what she was denied. The questions linger like shadows. Was she too European, too mysterious, too unwilling to conform? Or did she choose not to surrender herself fully to Hollywood's machinery, protecting the very aura that made her unique? The truth remains elusive, and perhaps that is why her story feels less like a career and more like a legend. But Monica's tale is not just about cinema or fashion. It is about the fragile balance between image and reality, between myth and woman. Behind every dazzling appearance was a human being navigating scrutiny, whispers, and expectations. Behind every celebration was a silence, the silence of doors half open, of opportunities lost, of paths that could have been. Her journey reminds us that even the most radiant stars carry shadows, and sometimes it is in those shadows that we find the deepest truths. As we retrace her life, from the quiet streets of Italy where she was born, to the luminous runways of Paris, to the silver screens of Europe and America, we enter not just a biography, but a mystery. Monica Bellucci's story is a meditation on beauty, rejection, resilience, and the haunting question of what it means to be unforgettable, yet unclaimed. Monica Anna Maria Bellucci was born on September 30, 1964, in Città di Castello, a small town nestled in the rolling hills of Umbria, Italy. Hers was not the glamorous childhood that one might expect from a future icon of fashion and film. Her father ran a trucking company. Her mother was a homemaker. Life was modest, grounded in tradition, with little to suggest that the girl from this quiet town would one day be called the last goddess of European cinema. And yet, even in her earliest years, there was something about Monica that set her apart. Neighbors remembered her as graceful, composed, almost otherworldly. She carried herself with a poise far beyond her age, as though she were destined to be seen. Ironically, Monica did not dream of the runway or the screen. Instead, she envisioned a future in the courtroom. Intelligent and ambitious, she enrolled at the University of Perugia to study law. But fate, as it so often does, had other plans. To pay for her studies, Monica took on part-time modeling work. It was supposed to be temporary, a means to an end. Instead, it became the beginning of everything. Photographers immediately recognized her unique quality, not simply beauty, but presence. Her deep brown eyes seemed to hold entire stories, her features echoing Renaissance paintings, her aura a blend of warmth and mystery. Soon, part-time became full-time. By the late 1980s, Monica abandoned her law studies and embraced modeling fully. Milan called first, then Paris, and in a matter of years, she had become one of the most sought-after faces in fashion. Campaigns for Dolce & Gabbana immortalized her as the embodiment of Italian sensuality, while Dior cast her as the face of timeless sophistication. She was not the skinny ingenue so popular in the industry at the time. She was fuller, more mature, unapologetically feminine. Monica represented a woman, not a girl, a living challenge to fashion's obsession with youth. Her rise was meteoric, but it was also unusual. Unlike many models who remained confined to the runway, Monica exuded a cinematic quality that demanded more than photographs. Directors noticed. By the early 1990s, she began taking small roles in Italian films, testing the waters of a new career. Her breakthrough came in France with L'Appartement, 1996, a sensual, suspenseful film that revealed her acting talent as more than capable of matching her beauty. The performance earned her a César nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and with it, validation that Monica Bellucci was not just an image to be adored, she was a storyteller. From there, her career expanded quickly across Europe. Italian and French filmmakers embraced her maturity, casting her in roles that required both vulnerability and strength. She became a fixture at Cannes, her presence on the red carpet commanding attention not because she sought it, but because she embodied it. By the late 1990s, Monica was no longer simply a model-turned-actress. She was a phenomenon, a woman whose face, voice, and aura seemed to linger in memory long after she had left the room. But even as her star climbed higher, so too did the shadows lengthen. For all her triumphs, there was already a sense that not every door would open, not every opportunity would be granted. Europe adored her, Hollywood watched. The stage was set for both glory and rejection. By the turn of the new millennium, Monica Bellucci was no longer simply a rising European star. She had become a global presence. Her face was instantly recognizable, her aura magnetic, her very name synonymous with timeless glamour. The 1990s had already cemented her reputation as a muse in both fashion and film, but it was in the early 2000s that she reached the height of her power, the moment when the world seemed unable to take its eyes off her. The defining chapter of this peak came with Malèna, 2000, Giuseppe Tornatore's haunting film set in wartime Sicily. In it, Monica played a young widow whose beauty became both her blessing and her curse. The role required few words, but her presence spoke volumes. Every movement, every glance carried the weight of desire, envy, and isolation. Men adored her, women despised her, and Monica embodied the pain of being worshipped, yet never truly known. Malèna was more than a film. It was a portrait of Monica herself, a reminder that beauty can elevate but also imprison. The film became an instant classic, and with it, her face became etched into cinematic memory. But Monica did not linger in the comfort of admiration. Just 2 years later, she made one of the boldest choices of her career, starring in Gaspar Noé's Irreversible, 2002. The film was brutal, divisive, and unforgettable. Many actresses would have shied away, but Monica stepped into it with fearless honesty. The result was a performance that shocked, unsettled, and proved that she was not afraid of roles that demanded everything. Critics and audiences debated the film endlessly, but few questioned her courage.
In those years, Monica Bellucci became not just a symbol of glamour, but of daring. It was during this peak that Hollywood finally opened its doors, though only slightly. In 2003, she appeared as Persephone in The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. Dressed in shimmering gowns, her voice low and hypnotic, Monica stole every scene she entered. Though her screen time was brief, she became unforgettable to American audiences, the mysterious woman who lingered in memory long after the credits rolled. In 2004, she was cast as Mary Magdalene in The Passion of the Christ, a role that allowed her to show compassion and sorrow, reaching a global audience of millions. And yet, even at her hype, the paradox continued. While European filmmakers gave her central roles, Hollywood seemed unable or unwilling to do the same. She was offered fragments, moments of brilliance, but never the throne. This tension would become the central mystery of her career. Adored, remembered, admired, yet never fully embraced. Still, Monica found triumphs where others saw obstacles. Her peak extended beyond cinema to fashion, where she continued to dominate campaigns for Dolce & Gabbana and Dior. Unlike younger models, she was celebrated not for novelty, but for constancy, for carrying with her an aura that transcended time. Each appearance at Cannes or Venice was an event in itself. Her gowns, her presence, her leery walk embodying the elegance of a bygone era. Perhaps the most symbolic gesture of this period came later, in 2015, when she became a bondwoman in Spectre. At 50, she redefined what it meant to be desired in an industry obsessed with youth. No longer the ingenue, she was a woman of experience, sensuality, and depth. Headlines celebrated her as the oldest Bond girl in history, but audiences understood the truth. She was perhaps the most believable. Monica had not lost allure, she had expanded it. Her peak, then, was a tapestry of contradictions: triumph and limitation, daring and restraint, centrality and marginalization. She had everything: admiration, fame, legacy, yet carried with her the unanswered question of why Hollywood never crowned her. For Monica, the height of glamour was dazzling, but even in the glow, shadows lingered. At first glance, Monica Bellucci seemed untouchable. She moved through the worlds of fashion and film like a goddess, untouched by time. Her beauty was immortalized in magazine covers, her elegance celebrated on red carpets, her performances admired across Europe. But behind the radiant surface, subtle cracks began to emerge. Cracks not born of fading allure, but of an industry uncertain of how to hold her, and of a personal life placed under constant scrutiny. Hollywood was the most glaring fracture. After her striking turns in the Matrix sequels and The Passion of the Christ, many believed Monica would finally ascend into the pantheon of American cinema, but the breakthrough never came. Casting directors praised her beauty, yet whispered that she was too European, her accent too heavy, her presence too commanding. In an industry addicted to youth and reinvention, Monica carried the weight of maturity, sensuality, and mystery, qualities that Europe valued but Hollywood treated as risks. Instead of lead roles, she was offered fragments, fleeting appearances that only hinted at what she could do. This typecasting was another source of tension. Again and again she was cast as the mysterious woman, the seductress, the unattainable muse. While she embodied these roles with power, they also narrowed the scope of her career. Audiences longed to see her range, her humor, her depth, her humanity, but Hollywood rarely allowed it. Each glamorous appearance was shadowed by the possibility of something more, something withheld. Her personal life, too, attracted whispers. In 1999, Monica married French actor Vincent Cassel, forming one of Europe's most glamorous couples. Their union seemed like a perfect pairing of opposites. He, the rebellious provocateur, she, the serene goddess. But their relationship was unconventional. They often lived apart, valuing independence as much as togetherness. Monica herself admitted their marriage thrived on freedom, an honesty that scandalized some and fascinated others. To traditionalists, it seemed unstable. To admirers, it was proof of her defiance of convention. When the couple divorced in 2013, the world saw it as the breaking of a fairy tale. For Monica, it was another reminder that even icons bleed. Critics also questioned whether she was complicit in Hollywood's hesitation. Some argued that she deliberately avoided surrendering to the system, refusing roles that compromised her dignity. Others believed she embraced silence, letting mystery speak instead of publicity. But silence, while powerful, can also be dangerous. It allowed others to write her story for her, reducing her to images rather than voices, assumptions rather than truths. Ageism added another crack. While Europe celebrated her as proof that allure deepens with time, Hollywood's fascination with youth left little room for women over 30. Her casting in Spectre at 50 was hailed as revolutionary, but the very fact it was considered revolutionary revealed how ingrained the prejudice remained. Monica had not lost her magnetism. If anything, she had grown more powerful, but the industry's lens often refused to see it. And then there were the rumors. Some whispered she was quietly blacklisted by Hollywood elites, her commanding aura too threatening for the leading men she might overshadow. Others suggested she chose mystery over exposure, preferring to remain elusive rather than risk overexposure. The truth was never clear, and perhaps that uncertainty became part of her myth. These cracks did not diminish Monica Bellucci. They deepened her legend. They revealed a woman who refused to compromise, who carried her beauty like armor, but also bore the scars of rejection and speculation. Behind the image of perfection was a story of resistance, heartbreak, and choices that kept her both admired and enigmatic. Monica's cracks remind us of a universal truth. Even the brightest stars carry shadows, and sometimes it is those shadows, not the light, that make them unforgettable.
When we speak of Monica Bellucci's death in Hollywood, we do not mean the end of her life, but something more elusive, the quiet fading of a career that never fully came alive on American soil. It was a symbolic death, a disappearance that left behind only fragments of possibility and a haunting sense of what might have been. The official story is straightforward. Monica appeared in major Hollywood projects. Persephone in The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions, Mary Magdalene in The Passion of the Christ, Lucia Ciara in Spectre. Each role was memorable, each performance unforgettable, yet none of them became central. None of them turned into the kind of career-defining vehicle that Hollywood has so often granted to its chosen stars. Instead, Monica was given moments, shadows of opportunity, rather than the spotlight itself. Some believe the death of her Hollywood career was simply a matter of timing. By the time she entered the American market in the early 2000s, she was already in her late 30s. In a culture obsessed with youth, Hollywood struggled to imagine her as anything but a seductress or a passing apparition. While Europe celebrated her maturity, America often treated it as an expiration date. Roles that could have revealed her range were given to others, and Monica's presence became an afterthought, a beautiful distraction rather than a leading force. Some others whispered that the rejection was deliberate. Rumors suggest that her aura was too powerful, her presence too commanding. Leading men feared being eclipsed by her magnetism, and producers worried she could not be neatly molded into Hollywood's narrow categories. To some, Monica was not overlooked. She was resisted. She was the woman who could not be controlled, the goddess whose European mystery clashed with America's hunger for the familiar. Still others argue that the death was her choice. Monica herself often spoke of preferring European cinema, where she could take risks and embody real women rather than fantasies. Perhaps she did not want Hollywood's embrace, preferring instead to preserve her mystique. In this telling, her absence was not rejection, but resistance,
a refusal to dilute herself for mass consumption. Whatever the truth, the result was the same: a career in Hollywood that flickered, then faded, leaving audiences with memories, but no monument. For fans, it felt like a loss, the closing of a door that had never truly been opened. How could someone so unforgettable be treated as fleeting? How could a woman celebrated worldwide remain a mystery in the very industry that claims to crown beauty and talent? This symbolic death became part of her myth. Unlike many who vanish in obscurity, Monica continued to thrive in Europe, in fashion, in cinema that valued her authenticity. But Hollywood's silence left an emptiness, a ghost of a career that should have been lingering, like an unanswered question. Did Hollywood lose more than Monica ever did? Or was her destiny always to remain Europe's eternal muse rather than America's chosen star? The truth remains unclear, and perhaps it always will. But in that uncertainty lies the power of her legend. Monica Bellucci's Hollywood career may have died quietly, but in that absence, her mystery only grew stronger.
If Hollywood's embrace of Monica Bellucci was fleeting, her legacy beyond those borders has been nothing short of eternal. In Europe, in fashion, and in the hearts of audiences worldwide, she became more than a star. She became a symbol. Her career reminds us that true icons are not defined by a single industry, nor limited by the opportunities withheld from them. Sometimes their power lies in the spaces they inhabit and in the mysteries they leave behind. In fashion, Monica never disappeared. Decades after her first campaigns, she remains one of the most enduring muses of Dolce & Gabbana. Her face still graces Dior's campaigns. Her walk at Cannes or Venice still commands attention. Unlike many models who fade as the years pass, Monica became proof that glamour does not wither with time, but evolves into something richer, deeper. She represented an alternative narrative in an industry obsessed with youth, an image of timeless elegance that defied the clock. On screen, her influence was equally lasting. Malèna continues to be remembered not only as a film, but as a cultural portrait of beauty both celebrated and condemned. Irreversible, for all its controversy, showed her courage to confront roles that others feared. And Spectre redefined the very idea of what it means to be a bondwoman, making her part of cinema history in a way that transcended age. Even if Hollywood never gave her the leading roles she deserved, audiences carried her in memory. To many, she remains one of the most unforgettable presences of her era. For women across the world, Monica Bellucci became a symbol of resistance. She challenged ageism without speeches, simply by existing in spaces where women over 30 were often erased. She embodied sensuality without apology, proving that allure and wisdom could coexist. She rejected conformity, and in doing so, inspired countless women to do the same. Her story whispered that beauty was not about imitation or competition. It was about authenticity, about remaining true to oneself. The aftermath of her symbolic Hollywood death is paradoxical. Rather than diminishing her, it preserved her aura. Because she was not overexposed, she remained an enigma. Each appearance felt rare, precious, and significant. Where other stars risked fading into familiarity, Monica endured through scarcity. She did not saturate the market, she haunted it. And in that haunting lies her power. Today, she is invoked alongside Sophia Loren and Claudia Cardinale as one of the last great European goddesses. Her name carries not only nostalgia, but reverence. She is seen as a bridge between eras, the golden age of European cinema and the fragmented present of global stardom. For younger generations of models and actresses, she remains an example of how to move through fame with dignity and mystery intact. Monica Bellucci's legacy reminds us that what is denied can be as powerful as what is given. Hollywood may not have crowned her, but the world did. Her story is not about absence, but about endurance. And her aftermath is not silence, but resonance.
an echo that continues to inspire decades after her first steps into the spotlight.